It is time for semifinal number 1 here in the Bahamas. It's the Oklahoma Sooners taking on the Butler Bulldogs here at the Imperial Arena on Paradise Island. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you are well and with loved ones wherever you are as we bring you some Feast Week basketball. Butler and Oklahoma getting the day started here at Atlantis. How did they get here? Well, Butler made a real statement yesterday. They beat the 5th-ranked team in the nation, North Carolina, 74-66 to advance. And then Oklahoma with a big effort from Buddy Hield, who is from the Bahamas, knocking out UCLA. We've got Wisconsin and Georgetown coming up after this game here this afternoon. Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to the Bahamas. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, glad you're with us once again. Butler and Oklahoma, a very intriguing semifinal matchup after the way they both pulled off wins yesterday. What are the keys here today?
Well, for Butler, much like against North Carolina, they have got to take Oklahoma out of transition. So they're going to have to be strong with the ball, not turn it over, and they're going to have to do a good job on the glass. They want to make sure they take good shots so they don't allow Oklahoma to get out. If this is a half-court game, Butler has a much better chance to win. And they've also got to do a great job on Buddy Hield, much like they did with Marcus Page. So Roosevelt Jones, Alex Barlow, those guys have got to stay with him, find him in transition, and do not leave him. And for Oklahoma, it's less about their skill set than their mindset. I think Oklahoma comes into this game. They're much better defensively this year than they were last year. But Butler is the most physical team they've played to date, and it may be one of the most physical teams they'll play all year. I think you've got to get it in your head. This is going to be a fist fight from the opening tap.
Roosevelt Jones and the Butler Bulldogs looking to take on the Sooners here this afternoon, and Andy Katz is standing by live with head coach Chris Holton.
All right, Chris, what is the biggest difference defensively in going against North Carolina versus Oklahoma team?
Well, they're a terrific shooting team. They really space you. They make you guard a lot of the floor. We're going to have to do a great job of contesting the three and keeping them in front on the drive tonight.
What were your final thoughts that you just gave the team before they went out?
You know, I think make it our game, be physical, be aggressive, make it really difficult for them to score, certainly in transition in the half court. Let's be efficient offensively.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Andy.
Back to you, Dan.
Andy, thank you very much. Let's take a look now at the starting lineups presented by Atlantis, Paradise Island, Bahamas. We begin with the Butler, and Alex Barlow had a magnificent game yesterday in so many different ways for Butler. Kellen Dunham can really shoot it. Roosevelt Jones, Cameron Jones, the big rebounder, or Cameron Woods rather, and Andrew Schrabbis up front for Butler. For Oklahoma, Buddy Hield is the guy to keep an eye on. He can really light it up from distance. Isaiah Cousins can shoot it as well. Ryan Spangler very active on the glass for Lon Kruger, who has had a nice run with the Sooners. This is his 6th Division I stop. It's his 4th season with Oklahoma. And overall, he's won over 500 games, 540 games in all over a very, very productive career. Our officials are Mike Stewart, Tom Eads, and Doug Sermons. We've got Oklahoma as the home team here today. They're in the white uniforms, Butler in the black uniforms, and we are ready to go here at Atlantis. Barlow with the ball yesterday for Butler. Had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals against North Carolina. And as you said yesterday, Jay, in many ways, he controlled the game as Dunham misses the first shot, and the rebound comes down to Oklahoma.
And Alex Barlow was magnificent yesterday against North Carolina. And you can see the matchup right now. Barlow is on Buddy Hield. That was in transition. I think you're going to see Roosevelt Jones on Hield as well, and that's the key matchup for Butler.
Tayshaun Thomas, the transfer from Houston, with the first basket of the game.
Oklahoma is a perimeter-oriented team. The Sooners did not throw the ball inside often much last year, but with Tayshaun Thomas, the transfer from Houston, who averaged 15 points, 8 rebounds for the Cougars last year, they're going to throw it inside much more.
Yesterday, they relied heavily on the three. They took 38 threes, made 10 of them in a 75-65 win over UCLA.
The number was high, but also the distance was long on a lot of those threes.
In and out for Barlow, follow no good, and we've got a foul underneath going against the Sooners.
Andrew Schrabbis just gets to the ball. It's amazing, an undersized 5. And here's Thomas. You can see he catches the ball on the perimeter, but winds up backing his man down into the post. Got Schrabbis on his hip, and then makes a really nice fadeaway jumper. And that's a really difficult shot for a lot of big guys, but he's got a terrific touch, so he can score in a variety of ways. Next, he can use an up and under move, try to get the defensive man off the floor.
Schrabbis misses the first one. Schrabbis was very good yesterday against UCLA as well. Just a blue-collar guy, 7 points, 6 rebounds. Didn't shoot the ball all that well. Remember the Big East All-Rookie team last year, but a lot of really good hustle effort plays for Travis in yesterday's win.
He's going to have to knock down a couple perimeter shots. It's a bad turnover for Oklahoma. Just a simple exchange, dribbling and catching.
Cousins couldn't handle the pass, and it's an over and back.
One of the things you'll note, man, from Oklahoma defensively, last year they got out into passing lanes, really tried to pressure the ball. This year they're more of a containment team, shrinking the floor, making teams prove it over the top.
They'll let Travis shoot it. It'll bounce around on the rim for a while before finally coming down to the Sooners.
How about that block out by Ryan Spangler? Didn't see many of those yesterday from North Carolina. That was a great box out.
Spangler averaging better than 10 rebounds per game. He was the Big 12 leader in rebounding a year ago, a transfer from Gonzaga. And a travel. So that's 2 turnovers committed by Isaiah Cousins in the first 2 minutes of the game.
And that turnover was forced by Alex Barlow. You can't screen him. He stays so low and he's so compact. It's difficult to get any contact on him on a screen. He really navigates screens very well.
You told the story yesterday of Barlow with the ball, wasn't offered a single Division I scholarship coming out of high school.
It's amazing. He had 1 Division II offer. And whoever that Division II coach was, he's got to be very good. How about that block out by Tayshaun Thomas? We've seen some great blockouts by Oklahoma to start this game. Spangler and Thomas.
Keep an eye on 24 in white, Buddy Hield from Freeport here in the Bahamas. Had 24 points yesterday as Woods gets a hip check into Woodard and is called for the foul.
We're looking at matchups on Buddy Hield right now. Roosevelt Jones is on him. Jones 6'4", an excellent defender. We're not going to see matchups like that for Oklahoma because they switch all their screens. So 1 through 3 on the perimeter. They switch every screen, then they switch every exchange with their 4 and 5 men.
Spangler driving on Travis, the kick. Cousins can't shake Barlow, but a nice feed into the corner, and Woodard will miss the 3. And it's the 5'11" Barlow down with a rebound.
How about your point guard getting down and giving help to the big guys rebounding? Barlow had 5 rebounds. That was no big guy at North Carolina, with the exception of Kennedy Meeks, had more rebounds than Alex Barlow.
Dunham, second team All Big East a year ago, better than 16 points per game. 10 to shoot. 1-on-1, Travis and Spangler. Left hand for Travis, and he banks it home.
Well, how about that move? Great feet by Andrew Travis in the post.
Woodard driving and scoring at the other end. Sophomore point guard, better than 4.5 assists per game last year, and a guy who, as you mentioned yesterday, he loves to drive. He gets to the free throw line a lot.
And you could see just by that one play, he was body seeking. He seeks out your body and throws himself into it to draw fouls.
Roosevelt Jones defended by Buddy Hield.
Good job of containment by Oklahoma. You see they're all inside the three-point line, showing their chest to Butler. There's nowhere to go.
Woods was asking for the ball, begging for it down on the post. Now he gets it the second time around. Great pass fake. And Travis, they're going to count the basket. And it'll be an offensive foul on Travis.
Probably a shot that Travis should have taken. Looked like they're just about on time. It's awfully difficult to come over and get set without moving before he left the floor. I'm not sure that he did, but to me, the default call in college basketball has got to be a block unless it's 100% certain that it's a charge.
We've seen a very high number of charges in this tournament and all through college basketball early in the season, with this call being interpreted differently than it was last year. Hield got it. Buddy Hield, who had a huge second half yesterday, knocks down an early 3 here today for the Sooners.
Yesterday it took transition opportunities to get Buddy Hield going, and really got going in the second half. Travis is going to have to take that shot at some point.
Back down to Travis in the post. The matchup again with Spangler. This time to the right-handed jump hook, rebound Hield.
No offensive rebounds for Butler in this one. 29 yesterday, nary a 1 today.
And we've got a foul on the drive that'll take us to our first time out of the game.
Buddy Hield is the leading scorer in the Big 12, mostly because he can make pull-up jumpers like this. Welcome home, Buddy.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Atlantis Paradise Island, Bahamas. Discover the wonder of Atlantis. Visit AtlantisBahamas.com. NASA Paradise Island. It's better in the Bahamas. And the Paradise Island Tourism Development Association. Experience paradise in a whole new way.
Oh, it's gonna be fun atmosphere. I haven't played in front of my family in a long time. It's gonna be crazy. Everybody's I know my family and friends gonna get after it. They probably get after the refs a lot. So that's what they do in the Bahamas. They like to pick on the refs if something bad is happening. That's what everybody does. But it's gonna be fun, you know. Just hopefully I show up pretty good. Me and my team show up pretty good.
I certainly did well yesterday. 24 points in the win over UCLA. And there's some of the family members of Buddy Hield who are watching him here today. That last shot that he took, by the way, has been changed from a 3 to a 2. They looked at it during the break. And as you'll see from this replay, clearly had a toe on the line. So take a point off the board, and it's now 6-5 Oklahoma. Hield made 93s a year ago for Oklahoma, shot 39% from beyond the arc. Andy Katz with more.
Last night, Buddy Hield was the only member of the Oklahoma Sooners that was hanging around here in the ticket area outside the Imperial Arena ballroom, making sure that all his ticket requests were taken care of. There were no other Sooner players with him. He was the only one when he walked out of here after that late night Georgetown, Florida game. So he's making sure all his people were taken care of this afternoon.
Well, and you're from the Bahamas, and a coach says, you know, we might play in a tournament down in the Bahamas during your time with us in Norman. That's going to make the kids stand up and take notice. I'm sure just one of the reasons why Buddy Hield wanted to go play for Ron Kruger. Roosevelt Jones the kick. Travis with a shot fake, gets by Spangler. Now Dunham is open and rattles it home.
The extra pass. Travis has passed up a lot of those threes. I think he's going to have to start taking those because he can really open up the floor and draw Ryan Spangler away from the basket. But just that one dribble and attacking the rim really makes the defense react.
Great pass from Spangler to Thomas.
Kellen Dunham didn't get any of those looks yesterday against North Carolina with J.P. Tokido on him. Tokido did a great job defensively on Dunham. He went 3 of 17.
Yeah, if you're an opposing coach and you're doing the scout on Butler, is Dunham probably the first name on the list?
Yes. If you can take away his threes, and he's got to do a better job, and I think he is, of putting the ball on the floor and attacking and decking the ball and getting to the free throw line. But what he can really hurt you with is a three-point shot. So you really can't help off of him if there's any penetration. Let Travis take a tough 2 rather than give him an open 3.
And Dunham with good size too at 6'6", can shoot over people. Jones misses his patented runner. And back comes Oklahoma. Hield a little strong, and Woods, the Big East leader in rebounding a year ago, down with a board. Barlow misses the 3.
You really can't sink down to the level of the screen, or these guys will just pull up on you. Nice hesitation.
Both teams really moving the ball nicely in the early going. Beautiful fake by Woodard, and he lays it in.
That's unusual for Alex Barlow to close out to your baseline shoulder. Usually he'll close out to your top shoulder and force you baseline.
Barlow looking inside for Travis.
See all those exchanges switch.
Jones was going to give the ball to Travis, but Travis came up to set a screen, and they turn it over.
Well, Jones needs to go into the post. When he gets Woodard switched off onto him, he should just take him down into the post. Well, you have to take advantage of these switches that Oklahoma is using. And they use them because most teams don't take advantage of them.
Hield driving on Barlow to draw the foul, the first on Barlow.
A terrific reversal pass by Tayshaun Thomas, and just a poor closeout, which is very unusual for Alex Barlow. Closed out to the baseline side, just opened up the middle for that drive, and Woodard took advantage of it.
Subs in for Oklahoma as Thomas will sit down. Frank Booker has come into the game, and also DJ Bennett, 6'8" senior from Chicago.
DJ Bennett has long arms, can block shots and rebound. Frank Booker had a big impact on the game yesterday against UCLA. Made some open threes, really helped Oklahoma see the ball go through the basket for a change. It was really a struggle offensively for Oklahoma.
Tyler Weideman, a freshman from Schererville, Indiana, into the game for Butler. And also diving for the loose ball right there, Keelan Martin, number 30 in black, as Oklahoma gets the timeout call. Martin had a great game yesterday for the Bulldogs. Timeout. OU will step aside and bring it right back to the Bahamas after this. Well, if you're liking the college basketball this week, you're going to love it just as much next week. Here's some of the games to watch for over the next week on ESPN. It's the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Tuesday night, Ohio State is at Louisville, and then Wednesday night, Jay, you and I are fortunate enough, we're going to be up along with the Grateful Red up in Madison as Wisconsin hosts Duke in a top 5 matchup.
As big a game as Wisconsin has had in the Kohl Center, and they will be fired up and ready to go, and so will we.
Barlow just got flattened on a screen. Spangler into traffic. Shot clock's at 3. And the air ball will turn it over on a shot clock violation to Butler.
Another good defensive possession for Butler. And Butler does such a good job of taking you out of transition. They are making this a half-court game. One thing that Oklahoma has done really well, they have defended very well in the half-court, and they're not allowing second shots.
And now Weideman is called for the foul. Trying to establish position, got a forearm, like Stewart says, into the chest of DJ Bennett. It's Oklahoma 12, Butler 8 in the early going, semifinal number 1. Wisconsin and Georgetown still to come. Wisconsin with an easy win over UAB, and Georgetown in overtime defeated Florida last night. Game-winning shot for Devontae Smith-Rivera. Bennett with Austin Etherington, the transfer from Indiana, guarding him. And a nice spin move by Bennett to make it a 6-point lead.
Etherington did a good job of making Bennett catch it off the lane. But there was no double, nothing to disrupt Bennett. He could make a very nice post move to spin in the lane, shoot over the top.
10-3 run right now for Oklahoma.
Oklahoma really sticking with Kellen Dunham. No matter who's switched off onto him, they are sticking to that hip and doing a great job of getting around screens.
Away from the ball, a foul against the Sooners. This one will be on Bennett. 6-point lead, Oklahoma, as we take a little break from outside here on Paradise Island. Great basketball action here inside at Atlantis. Since its inception, the Wooden Award has recognized the most outstanding player in the nation each season, including Larry Bird in 1979, Kenyon Martin of Cincinnati in 2000, and of course, as Oklahoma fans know very well, Blake Griffin as a sophomore in 2009. And Buddy Hield is on the preseason watch list, one of 50 candidates nationally for the Wooden Award. As we mentioned, a good scorer, a very good shooter, and a guy poised for a big season at Oklahoma.
Hield did a terrific job last season, scoring 16.5 per game, over 17 in Big 12 play. The biggest jump he's made this year, obviously averaging over 21 right now, but the biggest jump is in his defense. He's become a much better defender.
46% from 3 so far this year, 4 games in, over 80% from the line. Oklahoma off to a good start. They're 3-1, as you see. Their only loss was at Creighton by 2 points. Butler had 3 relatively easy wins before they got here, and then beat North Carolina by 8 yesterday.
Butler had a great opportunity off the out of bounds. They lobbed it up to Cameron Woods, who has such long arms, but he wasn't able to finish the play.
And off the bench, missing the 3 is D'Angelo Walker. And now a turnover. Hield finds Booker, who lays it in, and it's now an 8-point lead.
A great pass.
Here's Martin. Freshman misses the 3. What a game Martin had yesterday against Carolina, though. 17 points in 17 minutes off the bench.
Doesn't look like a freshman.
No, he doesn't.
Chris Holtman, the Butler interim head coach, says he is wired to score and just committed. Is that a cardinal sin or a mortal sin of fouling a
I think it's a cardinal sin.
A three-point shooter.
So Frank Booker will get 3 free throws after the foul by the freshman Martin.
The thing that has been most impressive about this start that Oklahoma has gotten off to is not its offense. They're up 8 and have done a decent job offensively against a very good defensive team in Butler, but it's been the defense that Oklahoma has played. And in the game yesterday where North Carolina wasn't finishing off its defensive possessions with a defensive rebound, I'm not sure that Oklahoma's allowed an offensive rebound yet.
You know, this is an Oklahoma program that sometimes in the grand scheme of things in the Big 12, Jay, gets overlooked a little bit. Obviously, Kansas is the program everybody talks about. They've won or shared 10 consecutive regular season titles. Texas has had some very good years under Rick Barnes. Kansas State, Iowa State have both had some big moments. Where does Oklahoma fit into the scheme of things in the Big 12 this year?
I think they're right near the top. I think they're going to challenge Kansas. But, you know, the overlooked thing, I mean, I feel you, but at some point there's a reason you're overlooked. And if you don't want to be overlooked, you got to win. And Oklahoma's starting to do that now.
Martin cut off on the baseline. Butler have a positive possession here, get something out of it. They're down 10. They've only scored 8 points in almost 10 minutes. Martin pulls up, in and out, and the rebound to Spangler. Booker thought about it. Got to respect Spangler, the shot from outside. And as we saw yesterday against UCLA, he'll shot fake and drive by people a lot.
Butler's going to have to do a better job of handling the switching of Oklahoma. They're going to have to start using their big guys more to set screens rather than little guys on little guys.
And there's Spangler with a long 2. Really worked on his jumper in the offseason. And look at them firing up the crowd. The Oklahoma players are really engaged with their fans here in the early going of this game.
Buddy Hield slapping the floor guarding Alex Barlow. So there's a good job of using a big guy to set a screen. That way that Oklahoma can't switch.
Quiet game so far for Roosevelt Jones. Not able to turn the corner.
Everything's one-on-one right now for Butler. Unusual.
And a foul against the Sooners.
Ryan Spangler, one of the best rebounders in the country, leading the Big 12. And we saw yesterday against UCLA, he had a lot of shot fakes and got UCLA's big guys to leave the floor. Well, he's really increased his range. Not a guy who takes a lot of jump shots, but now he's extended his range out to 3-point.
Barlow goes to the bench for Butler, and Dunham is called for the foul.
Frank Booker does a really nice job here. Just sticking right with Dunham, getting through that screen and being there on the catch, and a little bit of a lean in. Screen for the screener action, setting the back pick. And Dunham gives a little bit of a lean, and Booker does a nice job of selling the call to the official who bought it.
And Jay Butler's gone almost 6 minutes without scoring a point.
Well, what a matchup with Roosevelt Jones on Hield.
And knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Oklahoma, 10 on the shot clock.
When you mentioned, Dan, with Butler not able to score, that puts so much pressure on your defense time after time after time to get stops. It's like a pitcher that's not getting any run support. It's a heck of a lot easier to pitch when you got a couple runs in your back pocket.
Walker gets inside, got a chance for 3.
Well, what a nice play by Denzel Walker. He stayed low and went right into the body of Keelan Martin. And Martin tried hard to wall up, but Walker was just lower. His shoulders were lower, and he wound up winning the battle. And Cameron Woods didn't get around DJ Bennett in order to... Bennett does a nice job of sealing off, but I'm not sure how hard Woods worked to get there to block or change that shot.
Walker, a junior out of Vaughan, Ontario, by way of Iowa Western Community College. And he basically, although he's not a pure point guard, Jay, they need him for minutes when Woodard goes to the bench. They're playing a little bit out of position. Hield slapping the floor again. That's the 3rd time he's done it already. And this one has grown to a 15-point lead for Oklahoma. A slip by Jones, nothing going right, and now Jones with a frustration foul as he just wraps up Walker. The Orlando Classic begins today. We've got quarterfinal action. It's already underway over on ESPN2. Santa Clara taking on Tennessee. And a couple of ranked teams in action later on today on ESPN2 in Kansas and Michigan State. Chris Holtmann will use a 30-second timeout. You don't often see a Butler team play with frustration. We saw some there from Roosevelt Jones.
They haven't been able to score, and you got to give all the credit to Oklahoma's defense. I think Oklahoma's half-court defense has been great. This is not the kind of defense that Oklahoma played last year, and they've done a good job. They're first to the floor. They have accepted the physical challenge that Butler presents. And even in this little exchange, it's knocking that out. Roosevelt Jones fell down.
Slip, I think. Yeah.
But now he's got the ball. Here's the thing that kind of makes me laugh about some of the things that we have, the idiosyncrasies of how the game is called. But when Jones grabs Denzel Walker there, he's not making a play on the ball. So why is that not a flagrant one?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing, like, it's really no big deal. We should just call these things on severity. And so if you wrap somebody up and don't make a play on the ball, as long as you don't tackle the guy, is it a big deal?
We saw one yesterday where Barlow wrapped his arms around a defender. There wasn't a lot of severity, but he didn't make a play on the ball.
That's the thing.
And it was called a flagrant one.
So what's the difference in those two? There's really no difference. The one difference is guys on the floor and can't get to the basket.
A lot of fouls for Butler as well. So a lot of free throws coming for Oklahoma. Already 9 team fouls. Oklahoma's into the bonus with 8:25 to go and a lead that is expanding by the possession.
What's been really impressive so far has been Oklahoma's mindset in this game. It appears that the Sooners know, look, this is going to be a half-court grinder, and we're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to be tough. We're not going to get shots when we usually would. And they have played this possession game very effectively. It's been really impressive.
They're also shooting 9 for 12 from the floor.
Well, they're making Butler guard, and they're spreading them out.
Timeout on the floor, 7:58 to go. This has been a one-sided affair here in the first semifinal this afternoon. An impressive performance by the Oklahoma Sooners. Efficient at one end, tenacious at the other, and a 16-point lead on the Bulldogs. Thank you. Back here in the Bahamas, a 24-8 lead for Oklahoma over Butler. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, and let's send it to Andy Katz.
Well, Dan, yesterday it was a very physical game for Butler against North Carolina. So what happened after the game? Well, trainer Ryan Galloy had the players into his hotel room where he had an inflatable tub, kind of like a kiddie pool that he purchased for this trip. And what did he do? He put 3 of the guys in there. They had he and his wife getting buckets of water from the tub, filling this kiddie pool. He said they emptied 3 ice machines in the hotel. You had 3 at a time in the tub. By the way, Alex Barlow was by himself in the regular bathtub. The idea for this happened 2 years ago in the Maui Invitational, and Galloy told me that he had each player rotating in the bathtub for the ice, and it took forever. And so they put one of these cold tubs at Hinkle Coliseum. They liked the idea, so they said, hey, let's take it on the road and have a communal bathtub in my hotel room. And it worked.
You got to do what you got to do. I think it was many years ago. Remember when Ball State, Jay, went out to Maui and played great? I think they beat Kansas and UCLA, if my memory serves. And they spent almost all of their time, from what I recall, in the pool drinking Gatorade.
That was before there was air conditioning in the Civic Center. You're right. That was the one where Aaron Miles seized up on that last play. Well, that was a good Ball State team. Darren Smith. Bill Raftery used to travel with his own cold tub, but it was for a different reason.
Must have worked very well. Let's see if Butler can snap this drive. Got to be about 7 minutes now since they've scored. Travis inside will draw the foul and at least get to the free throw line.
A good drive. I still think that Travis can take that 3 to try to extend this Oklahoma defense that has done a really good job of containing, staying packed in and not extending too far. But the big guys are going to have to start being more of a threat. That's why Keelan Martin's been put in the game to try to spread this defense out a little bit, and Travis, I think, is going to have to do that as well.
And finally, they put a point on the board. 7 minutes and 35 seconds between points for Butler.
Well, and Oklahoma's been so efficient on their offensive end. They've gotten the ball inside. They're scoring in the paint. They're scoring off turnovers. It's not like they put a ton of points up, but the combination of good offense and great defense has worked for Lon Kruger.
It's been a game without a lot of turnovers, without a lot of offensive rebounding. So basically just one shot each way, each trip. And Oklahoma is still 9 for 12 from the floor. Walker using his strength and getting to the glass.
He just bullied Keelan Martin to the basket. That's another example of the low man wins in basketball. He's smaller but used his leverage and got right into the body of Keelan Martin.
A trap on Dunham.
Barlow caught that ball. If Keelan Martin had been quicker to get up to the top of the key, could have gotten a shot or a great reversal.
Woods inside. It won't stay down, but he'll shoot a couple.
Jell Walker is so strong. I mean, this drive against Keelan Martin, terrific. Just got right into his chest, knocked him backward, and was still able to complete the play. And that's one of those things where, you know, if he were bigger, I mean, Kellen Dunham did the same thing, got an offensive foul called on him. You know, it's kind of almost your size. The officials don't look at the fact that, you know, if you're bigger and do that, you get called for an offensive foul. If you're smaller, then it's okay.
Walker can give Oklahoma some instant offense off the bench. He's averaging better than 7 points per game and about 13 minutes per game. And with Booker and Walker coming off the bench, they're a solid 4 deep in the backcourt.
No question. Well, when I was talking about Walker with that offensive move, that's not to say that he did anything wrong. Kellen Dunham didn't do anything wrong. He got a foul called on him.
Cousins, a 40% shooter from three-point range last year. They took 38 threes yesterday, Oklahoma against UCLA. That's the most they've taken, Jay. Ties a program record. The last time they took 38 was in a game against Loyola Marymount. Billy Tubbs was the Oklahoma coach back in the 80s. They won that game 172 to 112.
Yeah, and then they missed a layup for 174. That was back when Paul Westhead was coaching Loyola Marymount.
Mike Hauk, who does their radio, is also the sports information director, told me they had 97 points in the last minute of the first half and had 3 threes on the last possession but couldn't hit any of them. They were that close to scoring 100 points in a half.
It's amazing. Back then when Westhead was coaching Loyola Marymount and had such great offensive teams, you know, Hank Gathers and Jeff Fryer. It was really amazing. Bo Kimball. Everybody, if you picked up any press guy of a team that had played Loyola Marymount, everybody's career high was against Loyola Marymount. Right. From your best player down to your walk-on.
And if you had to pick one other team in the country then who wanted to get up and down and would play that kind of a game, it would be Billy Tubbs in Oklahoma. He really liked to go, and they were, boy, did he have good teams back then. Of course, when Kansas, Danny Manning, when they won the national championship in '88, it was a heavily favored Oklahoma team. Yes. They beat in the national championship.
And Stacey King and Mookie Blaylock, those teams could really score. That was a great read of a screen by Kellen Dunham. He really reads the defense very well. The defense has been all over him in this game. That's 2 games in a row where he's been the target. And he's been taken out of this game effectively as well by Oklahoma.
What a difference a day makes for Butler between the Carolina game and here today. 11 offensive rebounds in the first half yesterday. 29 in the game. And they've got 1 offensive rebound today. Now, there have not been as many shot attempts. It's been a different style of game. But if North Carolina lost the game yesterday on the free throw line, Butler won it on the offensive glass.
No question. And there may not have been as many shots, but there were enough to know that Oklahoma has done a great job of boxing out, going after rebounds with both hands.
Cousins with a long 2. Boy, Oklahoma's playing well. All the backcourt guys are really contributing. And Thomas and Spangler doing their thing up front.
They have been locked in mentally, and it's been a together effort, especially on the defensive end, but I think their great defense has helped them lead to really good offense. You know, they haven't gotten much transition, but they have been resolute in running their stuff and getting the shot that they want.
Contested shot by Dunham, and Spangler's going to get called for the foul, pushing Woods off to the side.
That was a good call. Woods was right there for the offensive rebound, and Spangler just pushed him. Oklahoma's been running its offense so well that they are getting open shots. They're getting the ball inside. They're kicking it out, making the extra pass. This has been very impressive by the Sooners.
And here's the one guy, Jay, in Woods, who doesn't have a typical Butler kind of body, but he's a 10-rebound-a-game guy in spite of the fact that he's so thin.
Primarily, he's been a defensive rebounder. He led the Big East in rebounding last year, over 9 rebounds a game, but not a great offensive rebounder. And he's been trying to pursue the ball better this year and has done a really good job. He had 8 offensive rebounds against North Carolina, 13 overall.
Thomas now, Dunham down with a rebound. Dunham trying to go all the way, and he's rejected by Thomas.
Boy, the presence of Tayshaun Thomas this year, that is something that Oklahoma did not have last year. Doing a good job of not letting Dunham get into his body, just using those long arms, good timing. He doesn't leave the floor until Dunham commits and swats that thing away with his right hand. That was impressive.
Dunham step back jumper. Butler needed that. Starting to show some signs of life at the offensive end here late in the first half.
But how hard did he have to work for that shot? But the key, got a screen from a big guy, and Oklahoma could not switch.
Woodard, a little bit strong, and it's Spangler over the top. His second foul. Still to come today, the second semifinal here at the Battle for Atlantis. The second-ranked team of the nation, the Wisconsin Badgers, taking on the Georgetown Hoyas. The championship game 4 Eastern tomorrow, right here on ESPN. Granted, Wisconsin played a team in UAB that was somewhat overmatched by the Badgers, but your first chance to see them in person this year. What you think?
Lexington, Kentucky is not going to want to hear this, but I think I could make a pretty good argument that Wisconsin's the best team I've seen so far. They are the San Antonio Spurs of college basketball. They put 5 guys on the floor that can score all the time. And UAB is not a bad basketball team, and they toyed with UAB yesterday. It was really, really impressive.
72-44 was the score. Frank Kaminsky leading the way for Wisconsin. But they got deep down into the bench in that game because it was such a big lead. And Zach Showalter, who's their 9th guy and really doesn't play very much, came off the bench late in the game, had 2 dunks, including a follow dunk, a tip dunk. That was the number 2 play, number 2 Sports Center top 10 play. I mean, everybody, Douye Dukin and a lot of guys came in off the bench and really did a great job last night for the Badgers.
Yeah, and Zach Showalter actually wants to talk to you about that because he's very disappointed that his dunk wasn't number 1.
It was impressive. It was a wow moment in the gym. And Georgetown, meanwhile, what a fist fight they had with Florida last night in the second game, winning it in overtime.
How about the big shots over and over again? L.J. Peak makes a big shot. Paul White makes a big shot.
Austin Etherington with a big shot.
Well, this is a big 4-minute stretch right now for Butler. If they can get this to 8 points, under 10, that would be a nice psychological boost, given how poorly this first half has gone for the Bulldogs.
Cousins baseline, short, got it back, and puts it home.
And Tyler Weidman was so worried about trying to get a charge there that he didn't go after the ball. That was not a rebound that you would have thought that Oklahoma should have gotten.
Etherington open again.
Another good box out by DJ Bennett.
These guards have been in attack mode for Oklahoma from the moment the game began. Here's Heel. Nice kick. But his momentum carries him into Etherington, and Heel called for the offensive foul. Timeout on the floor. Signs of life for the Bulldogs. Still down by 14.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Stop into Lowe's to save big during Black Friday. And K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
All right, guys, thank you. 14-point lead, as you said, for Oklahoma over Butler. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Andy Katz. Jay, what do you like about what you've seen from the Sooners today?
Well, Oklahoma's been very efficient offensively. They're shooting 67%, 12 of 18, but their defense has been even better. Look how it's a containment defense that's packed inside the three-point line. They switch exchanges 1 through 3, and then they'll switch 4 and 5. But Terrific job forcing Keelan Martin to that pull-up jumper. Got all 5 guys rebounding. Again, they're there to switch, even to switch off a big guy and putting late pressure on the shot, not allowing any second chance opportunities for Butler. This defense that Oklahoma has played has been the best I've seen Oklahoma play in a couple of years.
Let me ask you about Roosevelt Jones. He's been, at least statistically, a non-factor in this game. He's got 2 fouls. He's taken 1 shot. He has not scored a point. This is a guy 2 years ago when they were in the Atlantic 10. First-team all-league performer. He's that good of a player. Why is he struggling so much here today?
Well, they've not really looked for him on anything. I think they've got to do some things to get him into the post. They're trying to screen him in the post there. And I think they need to use him in the low post.
Etherington with a drive, and he lays it in off the glass.
He's been a nice lift. He can shoot it from perimeter. He's made a 3, almost made another one, and then a nice drive.
He's really a 3, having to play as a 4, playing a big guy. Comes up with a steal. 5-on-4 as Thomas hit the deck. Dunham is open and left it well short. Now Thomas going the other way because he was never able to get back. And Cousins called for the offensive foul. Barlow steps in to take the charge.
If you love charges, you have tuned into the right game. There's no way he was there. This has become so ridiculous. It's like charges now in college basketball are like the intentional walk in baseball. He wants to watch this. There's no way that was a charge. None.
And the rule says, so let's make sure we get this across properly. The rule says the defender has to be in a legal guarding position before the offensive player leaves the floor.
Right. So the offensive player can still have 1 foot on the floor, committed to leaving the floor, and there's nothing he can do about it. But Alex Barlow was not in position by the time the offensive player left the floor. He was still moving. And the referees said they couldn't referee it last year with the sequence moved back. I mean, that's total nonsense. The majority of charge block calls in this game have been wrong. And yesterday were wrong. Now it's early in the season, but this has gotten to the point where it's unacceptable.
Dunham misses a deep 3. Weidman runs down the rebound. Jones. And Thomas down with the air ball. Boy, Butler's had a couple of good opportunities to get this down to 10 or even less.
Well, they could have cut it. They should be at around 8 right now, given the opportunities they've had. And it's really a mental health issue for halftime. If you can get in just 3-4 possessions down, 3 possessions down, you've got a real chance in the second half.
And Cousins fouled on the baseline. Looks like it'll be Dunham, and it is. Double bonus, the 2 free throws coming for Isaiah Cousins, junior out of Mount Vernon, New York. The second leading scorer on the team right now behind Buddy Hield.
Mount Vernon, New York has put a few good players into college basketball. Ben Gordon,
yeah.
Andre Drummond, Gus Williams going way back when he went to USC out of Mount Vernon. The McRae brothers, Scooter and Rodney McRae are from Mount Vernon.
Not a high-scoring half, but the 33 points that Oklahoma has have been well distributed. 8 different players have scored. Nobody's got more than 6.
I think Lon Kruger's got to be really pleased. I don't think Oklahoma expected to have a double-digit lead potentially going into halftime. But his team has grinded it out, and they've been very patient and disciplined on both ends of the floor.
And the shot goes down for Dunham to make it an 11-point game, but then Bennett with a left-handed slam at the other end.
Well, how about that? Finding an opening, Buddy Hield in transition. That was just way too easy.
Barlow has it taken away. Look at Thomas with a handle. The trailer is Woodard. Hield. Looking for the foul, didn't get the call. Final minute of the first half.
And that was a good shot because it's a 2-for-1.
Which is something you don't see college teams do all the time.
No, but Lon Kruger coached in the NBA, and I think a lot of coaches would be better off looking at good fade.
And Etherington with a block on the defender as he was still sliding. So Etherington will head to the free throw line. You got to be happy. This one was clear. This one was easy.
Well, they've all been clear. I mean, let's be honest. They've all been clear.
Bennett called for the foul.
Boy, Butler has missed some free throws that would have put them in a much better position.
7 for 12 now.
That was the issue yesterday for North Carolina, not for Butler. Today, Butler's returning the favor.
So Oklahoma can hold for the last shot. Booker, a three-point shooter, will come in. And Woods will come in for defensive purposes here for Butler.
Yesterday against North Carolina, Butler did not have the same perimeter shooting concerns. They had him with Marcus Page, but not with as many Tar Heels. Far more Sooners can make an open three, and it's really stretched out the the Butler defense. Defense has not been as tightly packed in this game. Roosevelt Jones guarding Buddy Hield.
And chasing him around, knocks the ball away. 2 seconds. And that's all in the first half that for the most part was dominated by Oklahoma, especially at the defensive end, and efficient and balanced at the offensive end, as they have a 36-24 lead on the Butler Bulldogs with a spot in the championship game tomorrow on the line. Andy Katz is with Lon Kruger.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, yesterday Butler was so effective on the offensive backboard against North Carolina. Why have you guys been so able to limit them to one shot?
Well, that got our attention, obviously. So our guys really focused on that in the walkthrough this morning, and typically we've done a pretty good job of rebounding the basketball, and they're doing a good job today.
They've made a little flurry here to get it a little bit closer. So what do you have to do at the beginning of the second half to keep them at arm's length?
Yeah, Butler's a really good team, good program. We know they're going to keep fighting, and they're going to get, try to get back into it. We've got to be patient offensively, make that extra pass, get a little better shot each time down. Their guys are doing a really good job defensively, but Dunham's a good player, and a lot of other good players around him.
Thanks, Lon.
Thank you.
Back to you, Dan.
Andy, thank you. 12-point lead for Lon Kruger's Sooners at halftime. 36-24 over Butler. Still a lot to come here from the Bahamas and from the studio. Let's send you back there now. It's time for the Mazda halftime report. Steve Weissman, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams.
PN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
If you're down, get up. If you're in, get out. Pop a top and fire up this party. Hey, hey, we're just getting started.
What a beautiful spot to spend a few days. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. What a great spot to have a big-time early season college basketball tournament. Welcome back to semifinal action of the Battle for Atlantis, a part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. A look at today's first half stats presented by the Nassau Paradise Island promotional boards. Oklahoma 13 for 20, 65%. And in stark contrast to all the threes they took yesterday, Jay, they're getting the ball into the paint here today.
Well, they've done that because of the threat of the three-point shot. Against North Carolina, Butler was able to keep its defense compacted because they weren't as concerned about North Carolina shooting over the top. They are concerned with Oklahoma doing it, and Oklahoma has responded by getting the ball inside. They've got it into Tayshaun Thomas. They've got it into DJ Bennett, and then they've done a good job of putting the ball on the floor and attacking the basket off the dribble. And that's one of the reasons, because of the spread floor, that they've been able to get that ball to the basket. Not a ton of assists, but a good job of sharing the ball and passing, and very efficient on the offensive end. But the spread floor has really helped the Oklahoma Sooners.
Nobody's scoring a ton, but everybody's getting involved for the Sooners. Let's check in with Andy Katz, who has an update on Butler.
Yeah, I spoke with Chris Holtman, and he says, look, we've got to guard the ball much better than we did, and especially got to get the ball in the post, obviously here with a fast break, but more than anything, he said, we've got to get out and get more transition buckets. Well, there you go.
First points of the game for Roosevelt Jones, and it's down to 10. Oklahoma led by as many as 17, Jay, in the first half.
Alex Barlow back into the ball game. He did not play as much in that first half and did not play nearly as effectively. Buddy Hield has been held down for the most part in the game. Only had 2 points. And that looked like a little discard there.
And Barlow, I believe he caught the ball with his left hand. He did. His left hand was on the baseline, so that turns it back over.
I think Chris Holtman wondering why Oh, I don't. Yeah,
Right there. Yeah.
Chris Holtman is wondering why that's not a foul on the offensive player, Buddy Hield.
And that is a foul on Alex Barlow, his second.
Buddy Hield not happy with Alex Barlow at all. Gave him an icy stare. That's usually not his personality. Buddy Hield is one of the quickest people to smile in the country. No smiles in this one.
Right in front of a lot of family and friends. Buddy Hield is here in the Bahamas. Woodard to inbound. Jones on him. Do you like the Butler matchup of putting Barlow on Hield?
I do.
He's given up some size, and he's chasing Hield around a lot of screens right now, but he's staying with him. Now they switch, and Hield gets a shot off, and Dunham down with a rebound. Boy, as poorly as Butler has played, Jay, they score here at single digits. Wow. Really deep one for Dunham.
That was a, what do they call that, a heat check, which is another way of saying bad shot. If it goes in, everything's fine, but good pass.
And another one. And Hield from the corner leaves it short.
Hield just hadn't seen the ball go through the basket all game long. Scored early, but that's been it.
He's 1 for 5, 0 for 4 from three-point range. Averaging better than 21 a game.
See Jordan Woodard right now on Roosevelt Jones. I think Jones needs to take him down into the post and just try to beast him down there. Switches off.
Travis is wide open.
Looks like he was told to take that shot. He passed up a bunch of them in the first half, and he didn't hesitate there.
Hield with a full head of steam. Offensive foul.
Travis got a lot quicker on that one. All depends on your definition of moving.
Well, it's been a big topic of conversation in the early going this year, all the charges that are being called. I would say, Jay, just off the top of my head, we've probably seen 3 to 4 times as many charges as blocks.
No question.
Wouldn't you say, at least? And look at this, down to 8.
And Oklahoma now is going to have to run good offense. They ran great offense in the first half. You can't expect your team to shoot 65% for 40 minutes against Butler.
Cousins gets the bounce. Boy, Jones made him work for that one, but he found a way. And Jones is hurt. Jones is reaching down and
like
grabbing his left ankle. Now he says he wants to stay in the game.
Yesterday he had some cramping issues. That doesn't look like a cramp. That looks more like an ankle.
Maybe when he came down right there.
He's going to tough it out. He's not coming out of this one. Isaiah Cousins is a terrific defender. He's really trying to put some pressure on Alex Barlow in the backcourt, make it difficult on him. And now Buddy Hield on Kellen Dunham. He is playing total denial on Dunham, not letting him catch the ball and not worrying about help defense.
Travis open again.
He's got to can one of those things. That can really help the Butler cause if you can set a screen with a big and then play pick and pop. Because they can't, Oklahoma doesn't switch off those kind of screening actions.
And away from the ball, a foul on Cameron Woods of Butler. He becomes the first player of the game to pick up his third.
All those exchanges being switched out top.
Open is Thomas. Rebound Spangler. Got it. Boy, does he get his work done on the glass at both ends of the floor.
Great rebounder and one of the terrific rebounders in the country that always seems to go after the ball with 2 hands. That's what the best rebounders do, and Ryan Spangler is among the best rebounders in the country. see he just doesn't surrender to that initial block out, that initial contact, gets himself in position and goes after it with both hands. One-handed rebounders are nowhere near as effective as two.
Better than 9 rebounds a game last year, better than 10 rebounds a game so far this year. Woods. Follow no, down with the rebound Thomas.
One of the first times that Oklahoma didn't turn around and look for a block out. Thomas just went to jump, and Etherington almost made him pay for it.
It's out of bounds to Oklahoma with our first media timeout of the second half. The Sooners getting their work done inside, probably also enjoying their time outside from time to time here in Atlantis as well. Ranked Alabama in a rematch of last year's Epic Iron Bowl, Saturday 7:45 Eastern Time, right here on ESPN. You're looking at the lobby area in one of the newer and nicest areas of Atlantis, the Cove, otherwise known as the hotel area Jay is staying in. For security reasons, Jay stays separately from the rest of the crew.
Because Dan won't let me stay anywhere near his wing.
Tell us straight, where are you, Jay? Show us where you are.
Oh, I don't know. I'm escorted there by security, so I'm not exactly. Is this
That's
it here?
it. That's you right there. Yeah, on the telestrator.
Is this it there?
That's where Jay stays. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
It is
No
absolutely
bad spots
beautiful.
here. Yeah, no bad spots. It's beautiful all the way. And this is the fourth year in a row they've had the battle for Atlantis, and it's a tournament with a great field. You talk to a lot of coaches, and they're saying, hey, it's a pretty good spot to come.
Well, the travel is easy. It's easy for your fans as well, and it's a wonderful place to have a basketball tournament. But I'll tell you, the jealousy over the Cove is an ugly thing.
That's right. Well, Jay does consent to have dinner with us from time to time, so it's nice.
As long as you're buying.
Yes, of course. Well, the boss is here now. The boss flew in yesterday, so we're good the rest of the way, I hope. A 12-point lead for Oklahoma. Butler had it down to 8. And then Oklahoma with a couple of buckets in the ball right now, 4.5 minutes into the second half.
Now Butler's starting to switch everything on the perimeter just to try to keep this Oklahoma team in front when they're making those exchanges. They've been able to get into the paint like this.
Isaiah Cousins.
Staying in front off the dribble has been really difficult for Butler in this ballgame.
Etherington open. And Thomas gathers in the rebound for the Sooners.
With a very rare exception, Oklahoma has really limited Butler on the offensive glass. There have been very few opportunities for Butler to get an offensive rebound. The ball's got to go into Thomas. He was wide open.
Spangler gives it to him. He's still pretty open, but they double team him after the fact.
He's shown that when he doesn't have it, he will pass it out. But he's so skilled, you've got to give him an opportunity in the post when he's got somebody on his hip.
That's a tough one. Woodard forcing one over Jones. That's one of the few possessions where they really haven't executed well today.
This is where they need to get Jones more often. He's such a good passer.
In and out again for Etherington. Boy, he has had some good looks from beyond the arc, and now Jones called for the foul.
Now, Butler's had some good opportunities. They haven't been able to knock shots down. And it's been mostly Etherington that's had some open shots. Travis has had some open shots. This is why guys wear goggles.
Scrape right across the face. Second on Jones. Butler is 2 for 14 shooting the three today. And they're only 7 for 19 on two-pointers. Overall, they're shooting just 27%.
A number which has stayed consistent from the first half through the second.
Booker. And a good rebound in traffic by Weidman. A two-handed rebound like you were talking about.
Really good rebound.
Did Dunham get one to go? He'll drive it, he'll dish it, and Weidman running the floor, misses the layup.
Looked like Weidman was a little bit surprised when he got that ball. But a good drive by Dunham.
Thomas off the back of the iron, Edrington the rebound. Well, Butler has had their chances. They have had their open looks to get this game down much closer than it is. Dunham again, almost every three that he's taken today, Jay, has been 4 or 5 feet behind the line.
It's been contested and deep, and he can't get anything to fall. So he went 3 of 17 against North Carolina. He was really struggled in this game, largely because the defense played against him. And icing or downing that ball screen, Isaiah Cousins not letting him get to the screen and keeping him on the left side of the floor, and Dunham just pulls up deep and under pressure.
So in the 2 games, he is 6 for 29 from the field and 2 for 15 from 3. He's a terrific player, 16 points per game, but he's taken a lot of deep, low percentage shots here in the 2 games here. Booker using the screen, too strong. Cousins with a good offensive rebound.
A little screen for the screener action. Now another 35 seconds for Butler to play defense and perhaps pick up another foul. And Oklahoma only has 1 foul in this second half.
Walker back into the game in the backcourt for the Sooners. Had a productive first half.
How many steps do you get?
Cousins. And Spangler, no, it's Etherington called for the foul. It'll be the 3rd on Austin Etherington trying to hold off Spangler. Zero in black with a push in the back of Spangler. Eight minutes into the second half. And Oklahoma up 14 on Butler. Wisconsin, Georgetown still to come. And we have an offensive foul. Etherington steps in. Walker called for the charge. Timeout on the floor here at Atlantis. Oklahoma leading Butler here, and Wisconsin and Georgetown still to come in the second semifinal of the battle for Atlantis here in beautiful Paradise Island in the Bahamas. Dan Shulman and Jay Billis, glad you're back with us. A number of top teams and a number of legitimate Wooden Award candidates on the preseason watch in this tournament.
Yeah, here are the guys on the watch list that for the Wooden Award that are here in the Bahamas at the Atlantis. Start out with Sam Decker of Wisconsin, Marcus Page, the junior guard from North Carolina, Devontae Smith-Rivera, who had a phenomenal game against Florida. Then you'd go next, Buddy Hield of Oklahoma, who had 24 yesterday. And then I would put the best candidate for the Wooden Award right now, Frank Kaminsky of Wisconsin. My finger apparently is broken. I've got to get a replacement finger here.
Did you charge that finger?
I thought I did.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, it's Frank Kaminsky. Just move him over there in your mind, and I'll get a replacement finger at some point. But Kaminsky has done a phenomenal job this season, a guy who has really elevated his game each year. And he can step away, knock down threes. He's excellent in the post, takes only good shots, and an outstanding rebounder. He's averaging over 12 rebounds a game this season, shooting over 60%. That move he just made in the lane against Iowa, that's not a college move. That's an NBA move. And he can block shots as a 7-footer, plays inside and out. Super skilled. And I'm saying Frank Kaminsky, I think, is the best pro prospect here at the Atlantis in the battle for Atlantis. He's a phenomenal player.
I mean, a 7-footer who can shoot threes. We saw him last night in the game against UAB. Fake a three, one bounce, get to the rim and dunk. He can pass. He can do so many things. Hey, it worked.
It worked. I finally got my finger. I brought a replacement finger in. I wasn't sure which finger to use there, but
you go.
Clearly my finger was out of ink.
Well done. And a steal on the inbounds. And Walker gets a layup. Boy, this is a much different Butler team than we saw yesterday against Carolina in many, many respects.
Well, Butler was landing haymakers against North Carolina yesterday, and today it's been Butler absorbing all of the Sooners' punches.
traffic goes Martin. Jones with a rebound, gathers, rejected by Cousins. Spangler gives it right to Etherington. Etherington's shots aren't falling, but he is really working his tail off today. Martin, no. Follow, no.
Well, one thing that Oklahoma has done perhaps better than anything else, obviously their defense has been excellent. They've been very efficient on the offensive end in a possession-oriented game. But they've accepted the physical challenge that Butler presents. This is a really physical basketball team. And Oklahoma was mentally, not only physically prepared, but they were mentally prepared for this kind of back alley brawl.
You know, maybe it's almost better that they saw what Butler did to Carolina. Then you eliminate any chance of taking a team lightly, or if that were to ever be the case. I mean, Oklahoma has certainly competed physically with Butler today, to say the least.
Yeah, sometimes you get the idea that somehow that Butler is some kind of mid-major that runs the Princeton offense, and they're going to run you all over the three-point line, shoot a lot of threes. That's not the way they play. These guys, they look like choir boys in a way, but they're really kind of a motorcycle gang out there. They will get right into you, and they're incredibly physical and hard-nosed and tough.
You talk to some of the Carolina folks, and like me, I'm sure you're bumping into people from all 8 schools as you walk around the resort, and the Carolina staff are just unhappy with the way their team competed. I mean, missing free throws is one thing, they're not happy with that, but they didn't feel their team competed nearly to the level they needed to, and as a result, how about North Carolina and UCLA playing in a game on the consolation side of the bracket here in this tournament?
Yeah, the way I viewed it, Dan, I thought North Carolina came ready to play, but they didn't come ready for a fight, and Butler gave them a fight and knocked him out early, and North Carolina never really recovered.
Dunham misses from the baseline. As we pass the midway point of the second half.
And you can't get a shot to fall. And Butler has gotten shots that it can and normally makes. When you can't get a shot to fall, it puts so much pressure on your defense to get stops.
They're down to 9 for 40.
It's just brutal.
Cousins. Good-looking stroke from Isaiah Cousins.
And this is an old-fashioned waxing right here.
It's an 11-0 run. It was a long time ago now, but it was 36-28 at one point, and Butler seemed to have some momentum. It seems like a long, long time ago now. Woods slapped away, and a foul is called.
Isaiah Cousins, an outstanding defensive player, but has really improved his offensive game. Just a freaky athlete with what he can do out on the basketball floor.
4th foul on Walker. Sends Travis to the line.
And Oklahoma has largely played the second half without getting any foul calls. It's only got 4 personal fouls past the midway point of the second half.
The one free throw for Travis, the first point in 8.5 minutes there. They had a drought of almost 8 minutes in the first half and over 8 minutes in the second half. Not field goals, points.
Well, you're not going to beat anybody good doing that. Talk about 2 different days, good pass. 2 different days that Butler has had. One against North Carolina, this one against Oklahoma.
Hield stops on a dime, misses the shot, and Travis down with a rebound.
Good block out by Travis.
And nearly stolen by Hield. How much fun do you think Buddy Hield has had in the last couple of days?
I think he's having a great time. It hasn't been as much fun to be chased around by guys like Roosevelt Jones and Alex Barlow. That has been difficult, but I think being back home and having all his family around. I mean, how fun was it yesterday to watch his family when they were jumping up and down as he was knocking in a couple of threes against UCLA in transition in the second half and scoring those 24 points.
And for those who weren't with us yesterday, Andy told the story then, an uncle of Buddy Hield's, Hield's from Freeport, an uncle who's here on this island, on Paradise Island. They had about 40 family members here at the game last night, and 2 nights ago they had the whole Oklahoma team over for dinner. So a great homecoming so far for Heel, especially if the Sooners can win and advance on to the final. Off-balance shot by Jones. Nothing falling for anybody in a Butler uniform until now, as Keelan Martin gets one to go. First field goal in about 9 minutes for the Bulldogs.
And one of the very few offensive rebound opportunities for Butler. Getting the ball inside, and Martin going up right into the body of DJ Bennett. Not a whole lot of contact there, honestly. It was more created by Martin. But something that Butler desperately needed, just to see the ball go through the hoop.
And the shot clock didn't start as the ball was inbounded. So it'll take 4 seconds off the game clock. Didn't go either evidently, so 4 seconds off the game clock and shot clock, and now we're underway again. Healed. He is having fun. They're having fun.
Freddie Hield has done such a good job off the dribble. Now you've really got to pay attention to that part of his game. Good shot right there. Great shot preparation. And one of the few times he's gotten an open look and was able to bounce into his shot without having to dribble into his shot.
And Chris Holtman will use a timeout. Hoops going on down in Orlando. The Orlando Classic beginning today, and already Tennessee has defeated Santa Clara. They're just getting going. Kansas and Rhode Island later today. Michigan State Rider and Marquette and Georgia Tech. Let's talk Marquette for a second. Steve Wojciechowski, guys you're intimately familiar with. Now up at Marquette, what are the short-term prospects for Wojo up in Milwaukee?
Well, short-term, I think Marquette's a little bit short-handed personnel, especially with bigger guys, but Steve Wojciechowski has recruited very well. He's going to have a very highly rated class coming in. But how about the start for the Big East? Coming into this game, the Big East 39-3 in non-conference games. And the losses being by Marquette and DePaul. That's it. The league has shown very well. That is a huge factor in the number of bids that a conference is going to get, is how it does in the non-conference. And the Big East has done better than anybody.
Actually, 2 Big East teams here. Butler is in the Big East. They were grandfathered into the tournament, even though Georgetown, a Big East team, is also here. Georgetown beating Florida last night. A good start for the Big East on the young season, but a Big East team taking it on the chin against Oklahoma here today with the Badgers and the Hoyas getting loose.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Atlantis Paradise Island, Bahamas. Discover the wonder of Atlantis. Visit AtlantisBahamas.com. The Paradise Island Tourism Development Association. Experience paradise in a whole new way. And NASA Paradise Island. It's better in the Bahamas.
Paradise Island in the Bahamas and the spectacular Atlantis Resort, where we have been lucky enough to be for the last few days. That's Billis. The battle for Atlantis, one of the premier early season college basketball tournaments, and where else would you want to be? Here are the temperatures around the country and even internationally. What, Toronto can't get like equal play with the American cities? We're 34 degrees, that's 1 Celsius up in Toronto. Madison, where we'll be next week for Duke and Wisconsin, a chilly 18 degrees. And by the way, for those of you in Indianapolis, Norman, D.C., Madison, and Toronto who were upset when you see this graphic, this was the brainchild of Jeff Dufine, our producer, who wanted to put this on the air.
It's really kind of unfair because Madison's temperature right now is much lower than normal. It would normally be 28.
We've been talking with a lot of the folks in and around the Badger program, and understandably so, Jay. There is a ton of excitement up in Madison for the Duke-Wisconsin game next week, part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
Well, it's going to be a phenomenal game, and the matchup between Jahlil Okafor, the touted freshman from Duke, went to Whitney Young High School in Chicago, and Frank Kaminsky, one of the most versatile big guys you're ever going to see. And a guy that has got an incredible amount of game. He's going to be a really good professional, let alone a great college. And he is a great college player.
And a guy who decided to come back for his senior season because he enjoys college. Wants to be a kid as long as he can be a kid. Thomas. He found out that he had been granted a waiver by the NCAA and allowed to play immediately after the transfer from Houston, less than 24 hours before their opening game of the season. And isn't Lon Kruger excited that worked out the way it did?
This gives them a totally different dimension that Oklahoma didn't have before he became eligible and really didn't have last year. A guy that can score down the low post. I mean, that's caught 3 steps off the low block. Most of the time as a defender, that's where you're trying to force a guy to catch the ball. And he catches it comfortably there, can face up. He can make a turnaround jumper. He can make a fadeaway. And he can put it on the deck and go by you. Got into the lane for a nice little jump hook there.
For more on Thomas, as he just draws another foul, let's go to Andy Katz.
Oklahoma Athletic Director Joe Castiglione, who's here, is also a member of the selection committee, telling me that Houston, the previous school that Thomas was at, endorsing the transfer, not fighting it in any way, and the fact that he was in good academic standing and had not gotten any kind of trouble really helped him earn the waiver right away. And also his former teammate, Daniel House, got a waiver to play right away at Texas A&M and was huge for the Aggies in their victory over New Mexico last weekend down in Puerto Rico. So 2 players who played for James Dickey at Houston, didn't particularly obviously want to stay there and play for Kelvin Sampson, the former Oklahoma and Indiana coach, able to play right away. And this is a little controversial in college basketball as to how much longer this will continue. It's something that certainly athletic directors are going to look at going forward.
All right, Andy, thank you. 6.5 to go, and what seems like a pretty comfortable 17-point lead for the Sooners. The winner of this game takes on the winner of Wisconsin-Georgetown tomorrow. We'll have the Badgers and the Hoyas for you. Coming up about 20 minutes after the end of this game, the second semifinal. You can see it right here on ESPN.
Wisconsin puts 5 guys on the floor basically at all times that can score. And that is really difficult to guard.
Boy, Dunham takes some tough shots. Jones misses again around the rim. It's been that kind of a day. If that's the only possession you've seen of this game, that kind of sums up the afternoon for Butler.
Well, Dunham has taken tough shots because if he doesn't take tough ones, he doesn't get any. He's gotten 1 clean look, and that was in the second half, coming off a little handoff exchange and shooting behind it. Other than that, everything has been contested.
Woodard. Swatted away by Woods. And it winds up as a shot clock violation in Butler ball. Don't forget, in this kind of a tournament, win or lose, you play again. It's 3 games in 3 days, no matter how you're doing. So the loser of this game will play the loser of Wisconsin-Georgetown for 3rd place. And on the consolation side of the bracket, you got teams like UCLA, North Carolina, and Florida, all of whom are going to play 3 days in a row. And whoever loses the Carolina-UCLA game tonight, Jay, will have lost twice in 2 days and will be relegated to the 7th place game.
Well, that's the issue, is you have great fields in a tournament like the Battle for Atlantis, and you come in with high hopes thinking about winning a championship, and it is not. You can play really well and be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But you're going to get an RPI boost just by playing in this caliber of game. What you hope is that, and it hadn't happened for Butler today, that you're going to play well even if you lose, so that you're well thought of.
For a team like Butler competing in the Big East to get a win over North Carolina, what appears to be a loss against a good Oklahoma team, and they'll play another very good team as Barlow hits the 3. 17 points yesterday, his first points here today. And one way or the other, they're going to play another very good team tomorrow. Still feels kind of strange saying Butler in the Big East as they go into their 2nd year in that league.
Yeah, 2 years ago, they're in the Horizon League, and they go to the Atlantic 10, spend a year in the Atlantic 10, and a year in the Big East. Now it's their 2nd.
Woodard from the wing, too strong on the 3. Jones down with a rebound.
Oklahoma's got to continue to play good defense without fouling. They don't want to stop the clock and give Butler free throws.
Whoa, big collision between two teammates. Barlow shaken up. Dunham count the basket and the foul. Buddy Hield is still down. He's now getting to his feet. But Barlow unable to do so at this point. Still down. One of the toughest competitors you'll see in college basketball. Just now getting to his feet. Timeout on the floor. We'll update you when we come back. 7 to go. Butler making a bit of a move in the last minute or so, and Alex Barlow appears to be okay.
He and Kellen Dunham knocked into each other going after this ball. Quite a collision, and Dunham was able to get up, get the ball. I mean, that was certainly, Barlow took the worst of it. And then Spangler trying to take a charge. And they called that a block, basket good.
So Dunham to the free throw line to try to make it an 11-point game. Barlow back on the floor.
Well, there's still, as poorly as Butler has played, there's still plenty of time left, and they've gotten some open shots. They knocked one or two of them down. This is not outside the realm of possibility. Doesn't seem like it because Butler hadn't played very well on the offensive end.
And Oklahoma's not been nearly as good offensively in the second half. They shot 65% in the first half. They're shooting 32% in the second half.
Yeah, difficult to imagine Oklahoma keeping up that kind of efficiency. Butler's got to get a couple of stops, couple of scores, and all of a sudden some game pressure will be on this Oklahoma team.
They've got the ball back. Dunham got a wide open Barlow. And another missed three.
Dunham just mishandled that ball, and the pass was out of the shooting pocket of Barlow. He had to reach for it, and that's just enough to throw off a shot. When you haven't been shooting well, you can't afford to be thrown off. That's a foul.
Travis called for the foul. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. it's the championship game here at Atlantis. The battle for Atlantis wraps up. At least the championship game is at 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. The winner of this one against the winner of Wisconsin and Georgetown. The game is a part of ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic, a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. At the line for Oklahoma, Jordan Woodard. He's not a guy who kind of jumps out at you with anything in particular, but he gets the job done.
Well, and his defense has been very good in this game. He's wound up having to guard Roosevelt Jones at times, and he's really battled it. Not getting bullied down in the post, staying low, sitting on his legs, getting in front. I've been very impressed with Jordan Woodard and the way he's played.
Buddy Hield is still slapping the floor on defense. No shortage of energy for Buddy Hield over the last couple of days. And he's battling and winning the battle for the rebound, and he and Barlow get tied up again. And it's going to be a held ball and Butler ball. So Barlow getting in there and scrapping and earning his team another possession. Because Hield had that ball.
Barlow's like that weed kudzu in the South where you can't kill it. You just can't kill that guy.
Jones scoops it from down at about knee level. Can't get it to go. And here comes Cousins driving on Dunham and drawing the foul. Well, these Oklahoma guards, when they decide to go to the basket, they've got an extra gear that a lot of teams don't have.
Well, Butler's really been sending more guys to the offensive glass, and that's left them a little bit vulnerable in transition. That was a good pass out to get it to Cousins. Really, transition turned the tide against UCLA yesterday. Oklahoma played really poorly in the first half on the offensive end. They got out in transition, especially Buddy Hield. When he took it on the right side, he got to the rim. On the left side, he got open threes in transition. I thought that was the difference in the game.
Etherington the save.
Absolutely nothing for Butler. When of the few times that they've been able to get to the bucket, but 13 down with 2.5 to go. That's a lot to overcome.
Second field goal of the game for Jones. Oklahoma, meanwhile, as we mentioned, nobody's been lighting it up. They've been balanced offensively, led by Isaiah Cousins, who has 13.
Buddy Hield knocks down a shot, one of the few that he's been able to get an open look, and DJ Bennett with a nice post move. They've gotten the ball inside, whether it's been off the pass or off the dribble. Offensive rebound, two-handed by Ryan Spangler in the finish, and then the nice fake and layup by Jordan Woodard. So everybody, Isaiah Cousins, everybody getting into the act. Yesterday against UCLA was primarily Buddy Hield, especially in the second half. He had 24 points. And he had a number of contributors, but it's been much more balanced, everybody getting in on it in this ball game. Buddy Hield, who had 24, only 5 today. But it doesn't really matter because it's been all about OU.
Badgers now starting to run one of their pregame passing drills out in the hallway outside the ballroom. We are in a ballroom. This is the Imperial Ballroom here at Atlantis, where they have about 3,600 seats and a court that they put in just for this tournament.
Those imaginary shooting drills are great because you never miss. Puts in a great frame of mind.
Talk about a bunch of guys who really, enjoy being a team. You can see that in the way the Badgers operate. At practice during games, before the game, just walking into an arena. You can see how much fun the Badgers are having. And Jordan Woodard just got teed up. Now Buddy Hield is going over to Doug Sermons to try to argue a little bit. That'll be the 4th personal. Remember, a technical is a personal foul as well. And either the little elbow or saying something is what generated the technical foul.
I think it was a little elbow, but look, there was action way after the whistle. And I don't know what the officials expect, because if you're going to continue to go after a guy after the whistle, what, like they didn't hear it? Austin Etherington heard that whistle. And
back with his elbow, so they're going to get the ball half court. Going to shoot 2 for the common foul, 2 for the technical foul. Contact technical Butler gets the ball half court.
All right, so it's a contact technical foul. So we have 2 free throws for Oklahoma because there was a common foul called on Etherington before the whistle. If I'm getting this right.
You are. It's but because the whistle had been blown,
Right.
that's deemed a contact technical because the whistle been blown, they can't call anything on Etherington.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly. So he can keep fouling all he wants to, and Jordan Woodard has to take it. And I didn't think what Jordan Woodard did was that bad. It's not. That was a quick reaction to something that was nowhere near a basketball play on the part of Etherington. And the officials are within the rules there, but that's something that should have been ignored, frankly.
So Woodard hits the 2 for the common foul on Etherington. Dunham will shoot the 2 technical free throws for the contact technical foul on Woodard, and it'll be Butler ball.
One thing we found out yesterday in the Georgetown, Florida game, which was of great interest, Josh Smith got 2 flagrant ones in the game for hitting a player with an elbow, trying to make a basketball move and clipping somebody with an elbow. And theoretically, you can have 5 flagrant 1 technicals in a game without getting thrown out.
You are ejected for 2 unsporting or unsportsmanlike technical fouls, but you are not ejected for 2 flagrant 1 fouls, which
it's really interesting. So you can't mouth off to an official twice, but you can elbow somebody in the face 5 times.
and right now, John Horford of Florida somewhere sitting saying, "I'd rather Josh Smith have just mouthed off to me."
I've got 2 missing teeth.
That's right. Yeah, I got the stitches to show the damage.
I thought I would have thought that was one I didn't know. I would have thought that you'd be ejected for 2 flagrant 1s.
And now an official review. And did we have an elbow of some sort? Or is this just who the ball went out of bounds off of? Maybe that's it. With Within the last 2 minutes of regulation and the last 2 minutes of any overtime period is when you can go to the monitor to see who should get the ball when it's questionable who it went out of bounds off of. And it's Oklahoma ball. That's what they were checking. Off of Woods, so it belongs to the Sooners. Well, after a loss at Creighton in their second regular season game, they came here with a 2-1 record, knocked off UCLA, and on their way to a win over Butler. Setting themselves up for a matchup tomorrow with either Georgetown or Wisconsin. A turnover.
That's not a situation where Isaiah Cousins wants to leave the floor to pass.
Jones with a great rebound. Butler just cannot buy one from beyond the arc. Barlow no. The Bulldogs are now 4 for 21 from beyond the arc today, and only 25% overall from the field.
A number of their shots have been contested, certainly by this outstanding, and it has been outstanding defense on the part of Oklahoma, but even the open shots that Butler's gotten, they just haven't hit it.
And that's a travel on Etherington, who tried to lean into the defender and draw the foul. And that'll turn it over to Oklahoma. And Doug Sermons is showing Etherington what he says he did. He says he moved both feet, and you can see there he did. Now they get it back, and Martin misses again. Boy, this is sloppy here at the end. Butler keeps getting the ball back, can't make a shot, and now the offensive foul on Martin. Spangler stepping in to take the charge. So just over a minute left in this one before the Badgers and the Hoyas take the floor for semifinal number 2.
Oklahoma just needs to be strong with the ball here.
Woodard to miss, and Hield been all over the court today. He hasn't scored a lot, but he's been all over the court.
And defensively, Buddy Hield had a terrific game. Really did a good job on the defensive end, showing that it's not about offense with him, it's about winning.
Five-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Hield will take it from the corner. And it'll be out of bounds to OU. Today's player of the game presented by Coca-Cola, Isaiah Cousins of Oklahoma. Low-scoring game. He led the team with 13, also had 8 rebounds, very efficient from the field, 5 for 7 overall. And this is not a pretty win, but a gritty win for the Oklahoma Sooners. They will advance to the championship game tomorrow. Take on the winner of our next semifinal between the Georgetown Hoyas and the second-ranked team in the nation, the Wisconsin Badgers. 59-46 is your final here, as Cousins leads Oklahoma with 13. Kellen Dunham leads Butler with 17. Butler will play the loser of the Wisconsin-Georgetown game for third place tomorrow afternoon here on ESPN as well. Lon Kruger's team goes to 4-1 on the season, and he's standing by with Andy Katz.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, Lon, what made it so effective for you guys to really dominate them, on the offensive side?
I thought it all started with our defense in terms of taking away some of the looks that they want. I thought our guys did a really good job in a short preparation of knowing their personnel pretty well. Butler's really a good program, and coaches do a great job. And I thought our guys got after it pretty good on that end.
You told me that you wanted to challenge your guys. You took them to Creighton. You lost that game. but there's been times where this program in the last couple of years has not handled the challenges. How have they handled it so far here in Atlanta?
We're making progress, and we got a long way to go. And that's a good thing about this group. It's a mature group in that way. They know we've got a lot of work ahead of us. Really good competition here, great event, of course, and people, the hospitality is great, and it's a good experience to win a couple ball games, too.
Appreciate it, Lon. We'll see you for the final.
Thank you.
Back to you, Dan.
All right, Andy, thank you. Great competition, beautiful setting, and here are the Sooners walking out, and there are the Badgers waiting for their turn to walk in, and here they go. Frank Kaminsky and the Badgers making their way into the Imperial Arena for the second semifinal as they get ready to take on the Georgetown Hoyas in what should be a whale of a game for the right to play Oklahoma in the championship game tomorrow here on ESPN. Again, the final in game one, Oklahoma winning 59-46 over Butler. Come on back and join us. The Badgers and Hoyas are coming up. But first, back to the studio.